числа. Це в межах України, але вчора перетнули кордон.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrei Shevchenko, and on behalf of the team of the Ukrainian Media Center Ukrinform, I want to thank all the journalists who tell the world about our fight for freedom. Within the last days, the world keeps track on the results of the catastrophic earthquake which happened in Turkey. Yesterday, a team of Ukrainian rescuers crossed the Turkish border to start providing support and mitigation of this terrible disaster. This is what we are going to talk about now, and we will be told more about this gesture of Ukrainian assistance by Mr. Volodymyr Demchuk, Director at the Emergency Response Department of the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, Major General of Civil Protection Service. Mr. Volodymyr, please tell us about the essence of Ukrainian support. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear journalists. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to inform the society about the measures taken by the State Emergency Service in mitigation of this catastrophic earthquake which happened in Turkey on the 6th of February. And I would like to inform in brief about what happened in Turkey according to the operative information. In the aftermath of this earthquake, it's really very complicated and complex of consequences. More than 6,000 people died. More than 400,000 people were internally displaced. More than 6,000 infrastructure facilities were destroyed, and the results of the earthquake were felt in 10 provinces of Turkey. It's one of the biggest earthquakes in Turkey lately, and as of today, upon the resolution of the President of Ukraine and upon the decree of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine, and in compliance with the order of the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, on the 6th of February, the rescue personnel was mobilized, and we prepared the best trained specialists who know how to work during the earthquakes, during the man-made catastrophes, to rescue the citizens who may have stayed alive. I would like to show the video of mobilization in brief about our mobilization and our readiness to mitigate the consequences of earthquake in Turkey. For the time being, when our country is in a difficult situation, the whole world helps us. We cannot stay aside, and we take the best efforts to help. Well, it will be difficult, we know it, and we're prepared for it. We don't go for recreation, but we're ready to fulfill our duties. We're ready to do our job. Mr. General, we've seen on the video the rescue teams, the K9 teams, the special equipment. Well, the K9 teams, they said that we may be involved in search for those survived. So what will be the nature of assistance we may provide? Well, due to the nature of the destruction, the main task of our team will be in search of the survivors under the debris, to provide the basic medical aid to them, and the first task will be rescuing them. It's first and foremost, and this is why we created this team, and the equipment which was assigned for the team. The team also comprises 10 searching dogs for search and rescue of the survivors under the debris. Questions on the floor. Good afternoon, Maria Gonchar, Ukrinform. I have a couple of questions. For the first is how long our rescue team is going to stay there, and are the heads of the emergency services of Ukraine and Turkey in touch for coordination of their work? Thank you for your question. First of all, about the second question, obviously all the coordination on the level of the government between the heads of the emergency services, between the head of emergency service is Ukraine, is coordinated with the embassies, with the diplomatic institutions, and with the relevant agency in Turkey, which is responsible for the mitigation of the consequences of the disaster. We have coordinators, we have the assigned persons on coordination of the work of our team. This coordination and communication is happening 24/7. As to the second question, the team which was created, they were mobilized first for the 10 days, but in view of the operational situation in Turkey, we will take necessary decision about the duration of their stay there. Another question, please. Vitaly Zalewski, Channel 5. There was an information on the internet about 2 perished Ukrainians. Then that information was debunked. Maybe you have any confirmation about any Ukrainians injured and those 2 who perished. Thank you for your question. As to the monitoring of our monitoring, it's the responsibility of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are in constant communication with them. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs received 65 applications as to the absence of our citizens, but upon the measures taken by our diplomats, 38 persons were identified. In terms of their location, currently we have 24 information about 24 Ukrainian citizens who were not yet contacted. So those matters are under close control of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with whom our service coordinates the activities and performs the exchange of information 24/7. The information about those 2 perished were not yet verified, so I cannot either confirm or debunk it. Well, I'm having a question. The experience our Ukrainian rescuers gained within the last year, how useful will it be now during the search of people, during the mitigation of consequences of natural disaster? Well, obviously the consequences of war, they played their role, and our rescuers gained invaluable experience, maybe incomparable, maybe best in the world. And our international partners, they keep emphasizing this. The team who left for Turkey, they have a practical experience in mitigation of disasters, in search of people under the debris. The people who are experienced in search of people in different parts of our country, and with no doubt that experience will ensure their efficient work in Turkey. Can you also decipher the scale of the earthquake? Maybe it's not the first earthquake you're dealing with. We see the whole settlements, the whole small towns and villages erased from the face of earth. What can you tell us about the scale of the earthquake? Well, the earthquakes like this don't happen on daily basis. They really happen very rarely. And talking about the Richter scale, the magnitude of this earthquake is considered to be very powerful, like maybe the highest magnitude by the Richter scale. So in Turkey, the scale documented was about 8, so we can say that it was a very high scale earthquake. There were messages on the social networks that we should be warned about the earthquake in Ukraine, including in Kiev. So what can you tell us? How can you comment this? Well, such gossips are spread to create panics. There are obviously risks, but they are not as significant as in Turkey. So we cannot say that today there is a threat of a such earthquake in Ukraine, and there are relevant specialists who can verify this, who can confirm this information. Well, next question. Maybe there are people who may say that the hands and talent and the wit of our rescuers is more valuable for Ukraine and more necessary here in Ukraine now. What can you tell to the people who will say that Ukraine is not in a situation to help the neighbors? Well, I have to say that the reserve and the preparedness and the readiness of the state emergency service shows its efficiency in practice. We keep demonstrating our capabilities. Our rescuers keep doing it every day. When the team was created to support Turkey, the factor of readiness was taken into account, and all those moments are taken into account, and I want to reassure that the capability of the state emergency service did not deteriorate, and the state emergency service is ready to fulfill tasks in the territory of Ukraine, and the team which left to the Republic of Turkey, it did not influence the overall readiness of the state emergency service of Ukraine. So, and my last question probably, is there any reaction from the Turkish side? Obviously, we see this assistance as the friendly political gest, and what are we counting on? Well, I think that the best reaction will be the saved lives of the Turkish citizens. That will be the best assessment of our work. Obviously, such gesture that Ukraine extends in the conditions, in the circumstances of war, and I think the Turkish side will respond to it not once. Well, and maybe the last question. Can you please tell us about any possible communication with the rescue services of other countries? Maybe there will be some coordination, cooperation, teamwork, and how many countries agreed to provide assistance. Well, I have to say that more than 60,000 people are now involved in mitigation of consequences of earthquake in Turkey. First of all, those are international teams. 43 countries already stated about their assistance, and they already extended their support. And such countries as Poland, Czech Republic, France, Germany, who sent their teams. And obviously our team will be in teamwork with them. In this work will be coordinated through international headquarters, and this coordination was established within first couple of hours upon the disaster, and our team is registered, and it's a part of the international, of the world team, and it gives us the opportunity to communicate with our friends from Europe. Volodymyr Demchuk, State Emergency Service of Ukraine. Thank you for this information. I invite everybody to follow our announcements. Our next briefing is at 1400. We expect to see Ivan Fedorov, the mayor of Melitopol, stand with Ukraine?